Hey there, my name is Bobby Ann Allen, and thank you for doing the Daily Devo with us. What a great way to start the new year. You know, I was thinking about a worship song that I've gotten to sing several times at Willowbrook. Our worship team has led it a number of times, and it's a song, it's not really new, but it's a song called Oceans. And in this song, Oceans, there's a bridge. And in the bridge are some lyrics that every time I sing those lyrics, I flinch a little bit because the lyrics say this. It says, "Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders." I can sing that. You can sing that. But it's not the same thing to sing it and to mean it, because I'll tell you what, God will do it. He will lead us straight into some deep waters, deeper than our feet could ever wander. And that's what we see in Genesis chapter 12 today. In fact, in this chapter of Genesis, we find a portion of Abram's story where truly the rubber is meeting the road. This is a chapter that for me is deeply personal. In my own relationship with God, I came to Genesis chapter 12 and I was a little undone because I realized that I trusted God, but I trusted him with some borders. God, I'll trust you as long. God, I'll do what you say, but I'd really like for you to lay the plan out for me so that I can prepare, so I know what I need. This is how I felt, and even how I communicated with God, if I'm really honest with you. But as I got to chapter 12, I began to see that Abram was called to trust God without borders. In fact, Hebrews chapter 11, verse 8, it says this. It says, "By faith, Abraham," that became his name, "when he was called, obeyed and went out to a place he was going to receive an inheritance. And he went out," listen to this, "not knowing where he was going." This idea of trusting God and not knowing has become, honestly, all too familiar in my life. And I seem to fight it every single time. But I find the application is good for right now, for all of us. You know, if you read on social media or you had conversations with coworkers or family members, maybe you've even had a conversation with your doctor, and people have predicted to you what is coming. Well, because of the election, such and such is going to happen. Well, because of COVID, this is what we should expect. Maybe your doctor has said you had this diagnosis, so this is what will happen. Do you know that none of us in truth actually know? We can predict the things that are coming. Often the enemy uses those predictions to grip us and chain us up in fear. But God says, hey, I'm calling you to go somewhere, and you don't necessarily know where I'm taking you, but I will show you. And with Abraham, he made some promises to Abraham. He made a promise to give him land, to give him inheritance, descendants. And God has made promises to us. He said, trust me. Don't trust me with borders. Trust me, and I'm going to lead you. And I'm going to be with you. And can I tell you that Genesis chapter 12 has shown up in my life so many times, with Abram being this example of trusting God, far without borders. And so much so that his name is mentioned in what we refer to as the faith chapter in Hebrews. And I realized that I want to be a woman. I want to be a believer who says, God, I trust you, and I don't trust you just if such and such happens. God, I trust you without borders. And I think that it should be mentioned, though, before we finish up with chapter 12, is that Abram's actions here are celebrated in Hebrews. But as we finish the chapter, we discover that Abram isn't so different than many of us. We find that the very land that God brings him to, he abandons. that Abraham, he missteps, he stumbles, he falls. But do you understand that the very man here who turns away and abandons everything God has given him, God still redeems, God still leads, he's still with him? So much so that we know his name. We know that he is the father of a great nation, a chosen nation that God would use continually, even now. If you're facing some things that you think, man, I don't know where this is going. I don't know what tomorrow looks like. And trust feels really hard right now. Know that you are not alone. You have good company that's gone before you. But you're not alone because you have a God who is leading you, who's with you. And he has a good plan. You can trust him without condition, without borders, and he will lead you and he will do good things. I hope that you have a happy Wednesday and that you experience the presence of God in your life today.